Today I'm going to talk about cultural approaches and the importance it has in everyday life, but especially in a corporation setting in a workplace. So first I'm going to define it. Culture, often defined as the shared values that hold the organization together, is seen as a critical element in the management of change because of its persistency. In other words, its resistance to change. Wikipedia says that it is behavior of humans who are part of an organization and the meanings that the people attach to their actions. Culture includes the organization values, visions, norms, working language, systems, symbols, beliefs, and habits. It is also the pattern of such collective behaviors and assumptions that are taught to new organizational members as a new way of perceiving and even thinking and feeling. I found on the Harvard blog network, it's blogs.hbr.org, some different scholars and people who have different opinions on what is organizational culture and why we should care. So these are just a couple quotes that I found that I liked. The first one was from Aristotle, and he says that culture is consistent, observable patterns of behavior in organizations. It's what we are what we repeatedly do. And then another one was from Alec Halverstick. He said, in large part, culture is a product of compensation. And he talks about how culture is powerfully shaped by incentives, by either if it's monetary rewards, non-monetary rewards, such as like status or recognition and advancement or stuff like that. Another one that I liked was from Bruce Perron. He said organizational culture defines a jointly shared description of an organization from within, and he basically talks that a culture is a process of sense-making in organizations. And so I looked up sense-making, and it says that it has been defined as a collaborative process of creating shared awareness and understanding out of different individuals' perspectives and varied interests. Another one was organizational culture is the sum of values and rituals which serve as glue to integrate the members of the organization. And that's from Richard Perrin. And he also kind of talks about how cultures provide not only a shared view of quote-unquote what is, but also quote-unquote why is. And it's more of the story of the people that they create together. I found another document on Hayward.org, and it also talks about organizational culture and why it matters and the kind of role of the culture of a business. And it talks about how not every culture is better than the other one, and it specifically depends on a specific business and corporate or corporation or even any relationship, and how even sometimes within a certain organization or team, there are different cultures within that corporation as a whole, but yet they all still have the same goal. So then that's how they could end up working together. But again, it just depends on that specific organization, how they want to work. So like I was saying, it's not necessarily, culture isn't necessarily in uniform all the time. It could have various subcultures which will exist in departments or teams. And sometimes they're even contradicting goals, or just their kind of cultures contradicting, but the overall organization's culture is dependent on that. I found a good example of a corporate culture with Apple, and so we're going to watch this little clip.
Una manera de resolver un problema. De ser flexible y adaptable son características muy importantes si quiere uno trabajar en Apple. Los que trabajan aquí tienen la capacidad de adaptarse rápidamente a circunstancias que cambian constantemente.
The best part of working at Apple is actually the feeling that what you've brought to the table has contributed to something greater than yourself. And in that way, you're changing the world.
We're introducing mind-boggling new, gotta have it, scramble, lines around the building kind of products. And I love my role in making that happen.
You will get more out of working here for 2 years than you will get out of working at any other company for 5 years.
easily. There's a lot of places you can find happiness. Work, when structured right, is one of the few places you can really find meaning. And I think what Apple gives the employees is the opportunity to be part of something really, really meaningful.
I really liked that little clip. It was longer, but I just shortened it. It kind of just shows their whole kind of atmosphere and culture within that first couple of minutes. Kind of just shows how they all have the same goal in mind. They all want to succeed. They all are extremely hardworking, and that's kind of the culture there is hardworking and determined and creative and trying to get the best quality product out there. And that just shows the kind of culture of them also interacting with each other and how they are motivating each other, trying to be better. And so, but not only does organizational culture have to do with business or a workplace, like I kind of talked about, but it's also in your family life. You could have a different culture in each family, even with extended family, even with your immediate family. My brother's married now and is starting his own organizational culture with his wife and soon-to-be baby girl. Different churches and your different religion that you practice is a completely different culture, even if you're in the same town. It just depends on how that religion is based off of. Also, schools is another super important thing where you could definitely see where organizational culture is very prominent. I know even from BYU Provo to BYU Idaho, it's a complete difference there. And I know a lot of my friends in California who go to school, SDSU, UCLA, all those kind of schools, it's a completely different culture than from my school. And so it just depends on how that school wants to be run and how you need to adapt to kind of that culture also. And the most important thing is there's organizational culture in relationships, and that's a super important one, to kind of realize how you want to be in a relationship and how that relationship is going to be successful or not. So as you can see, organizational culture is a super important, prominent aspect of basically every aspect of your life. And it is important to realize which culture is best for you and being able to adapt to other cultures if the time needs to be. Thank you for listening.